Hello and welcome to our live session for current students and future applicants for Plovdiv Medical University. I am Stephanie, Marketing Manager at Interhex. Today we will have a discussion with Ms. Anna Georgieva, Head of the Welcome Center at Plovdiv Medical University, as well as 3 students from the university. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the discussion box below the video. Our last 15 minutes of the discussion are dedicated to answering your question. Hello.
Hello.
And welcome to the discussion. Ms. Anna Georgieva, please tell me more about yourself and the university.
Okay, hello everybody. Let me introduce myself. My name is Anna Georgieva. I work for the Welcome Center at the Medical University of Plovdiv. I'm honored and privileged to work for this center at the university because we have the pleasure to meet so many students from different countries and offer them studies in the field of medicine, pharmacy, and dental medicine in English. Our programs are completely taught in English, and the application and admission procedure is, I would say, a long process that starts at least a year before a student becomes our asset. The application and admission procedure begins in June, and we do require documents containing diploma of secondary education, A levels in biology and chemistry, and the new issue this year is that we introduce entrance exams in biology and chemistry. Very soon, probably next week, on our website there will be sample tests in biology and chemistry, and all the applicants will be able to acquaint themselves how to apply and what the exams actually will be. Our Welcome Center meets students and our meeting with students, as I mentioned before, begins a year before the application procedure. Why? Because their families and the students themselves very often would prefer to come earlier to visit our university, to visit the auditorium complex, all the lecture rooms, to meet some of the professors, to meet the administrative staff, in order to appreciate the atmosphere, not only at the university, but also to appreciate the atmosphere in our city. Here, I would like to mention that to live in Plovdiv is a very safe thing, and parents of the applicants don't have to worry about, because Plovdiv is first a very beautiful city. It boasts millennium history, and it is one of the 6 eternal cities in the world. It is even more eternal than the eternal city of Rome. So, as I mentioned, it has a long and ancient history. Our university is famous for the quality of education. And I do believe that all our international students are pleased with their studies. And I would encourage students who are willing to apply to the university to accept this challenge in order to get a good educational degree. We offer master's degrees in medicine, dental medicine, and pharmacy taught in English. I'm at your disposal for any questions.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Let's turn to the student's perspective. Hello, guys. Please introduce yourself and why you decided to study in Bulgaria.
Thank you. My name is Azam Ali Beg, and I'm a third-year medic. I decided to study in Plovdiv because I wanted to study in a small university town with all the advantages of a big city. So, for example, great restaurants, good sports centres, a nice student lifestyle. Studying in the heart of Europe, which has ski resorts on your doorstep and beaches, a couple of hours drive, is definitely what attracted me to study abroad. Also, having that level of independence and learning very basic things such as managing money and looking after your apartment, learning to wash dishes and looking after your clothes, all that kind of stuff. So having been thrown into the deep end and learning things that I might not have learnt in the UK because my mom would have helped me is definitely what attracted me.
Hi, my name is Satkan Shergill, and I'm a third-year medic as well. The reason why I've chosen to do medicine itself is a big topic, but why Bulgaria? Bulgaria was chosen as my resort because I did a biomedical science degree beforehand, so I'm a graduate before, so I did that degree. And then to do a next degree, I needed funding, and I needed to be a cheaper cost and everything, so that all that was the direction of Bulgaria. So I went and came here, had a look around and everything, and it just appealed to me. Plovdiv was the first university I went to, and I'm like, okay, you know what, this is the one we're going to apply for. And yes, as Anna Georgieva rightfully said, it's a very safe place. I probably personally would say that even in UK, I feel much less safe at 5 o'clock walking around the street when it gets dark or dusk time. But here, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, if I'm revising at my friend's flat, I come back home walking, I feel completely safe. You're bound to, because Plovdiv is not just a big city, it's quite small as well, so you get to meet your own classmates, your own international students. You always meet someone. So the only downside to it is that you might the journey that takes 5 minutes might take at least 20 minutes because you end up bumping into someone and saying, hi, how are you? Good. So you'll have that, and you'll have that connection. It's an amazing university, I will say that. There's great opportunities have come through, and the university and the student relationship, I will say, is like a family rather than a student and the staff membership, like, relationship. Is not a official thing. It's really close. Like, if you have any problem, all the professors are willing to help. They can even put extra hours to help you as well. Not just that, the administration staff like Anna Georgieva, who's going to be in charge of the Welcome Center, is also at our disposal at any time whenever we need them. So that is another thing I would say, because I have experience from UK universities and other faculties in UK, that this is the key to success, as if it's unity. And unity is the key to success of anything. So when it comes to assessing a university, the best thing that makes a university better is not the buildings, it's not the fancy stuff, it's the people. And I'm telling you, the people in Plovdiv are amazing. I'll pass the mic to the next person.
Thank you. My name is Pankaj Verma. I'm in third year. I'm a dental student, and I chose this university because the faculty has much more to offer than other dental faculties, even a couple of other countries. Before I came here, I obviously went around a couple of other universities. I have a bit of dental experience. I have a dental background, and so I just wanted to compare what this faculty has to offer. And they've got one of the best equipments. Like, for example, they've got this laser dental machines. And I used to work at Birmingham Dental Hospital, and they didn't have that in 2014. I don't know about now. So they did invest a lot of money, and it's a brand new faculty. It was built in 2006. And it definitely is more for dental students, to be honest, because it's a brand new faculty. And fees-wise, obviously, it was much cheaper option. If you look at other countries, Czech Republic and Spain, they charge you up to 18,000 euros, 12,000 euros. So obviously, we pay a lot less here. And now you've got so many UK students, so it pretty much feels like home. And yeah, it's a beautiful country as well. You've got Greece, you've got Turkey next door, so you can explore, you can go to different places. So yeah, there's quite a few reasons I can mention, but I'll just pass the mic to someone else.
Thank you. I'm really glad that you have such a positive opinion about Bulgaria and Plovdiv Medical University. So guys, did you prepare before your academic year and relocation in Bulgaria, or what would you advise future students to do?
Thank you. I did not prepare at all. However, looking back now, I do feel that learning a couple of words in Bulgarian or key phrases would help majorly. Another advice that I would give is, like Miss said over here, is to visit the country, visit the city before you do come as a student. That will give you a sense of what the city has to offer. You can also meet us, meet the current students, get a vibe from them. So no, I didn't prepare, but looking back at it, it would be very helpful to learn the language and obviously visit the city that you go before.
Yes, absolutely. I think I'll agree with my friend Azam. The thing is, because we're in the European Union and in the EU country, there's not much of a big change. It's just going, in a flight for 3 hours and you're here. And yes, you'll have a cultural change, but everybody pretty much, nearabouts everybody speaks English, so you can get around. But all at the same time, you do have few people who cannot. And then the best thing is to learn those words, so it's really useful. I would say another thing is that you don't really need to go around doing more extra stuff and extra. You don't have to do that. What's the best thing that you can do is be prepared mentally. You know it's a different country. You know it's going to be different rules. It's going to be different regulations. So you have to keep that in mind. Mentally being prepared, not just to, I'm going to study, but you're going to be here for 6 years. So just stick with your dream. You're going to succeed. There is no one else who can fool you than yourself. You fool yourself. So the best way to do that is be strong on your decision, and don't think, there's a downside to something. Everything has a downside. In UK, there's always downsides. So mentality, I think that's what you should prepare for. And you can always go back home whenever you have holidays. You're not homesick, so it's always good. Parents come back as well, so it's not an issue. And getting around is cheap. Everything is really live and well. So I don't think you will need excessive preparation. However, start thinking of how you would transfer your money. How would you do that? There's always other ways of transferring stuff, such as your study table. Maybe you want to get it from home or not, but you can buy it from here. Most of the stuff you can buy from here, such as shampoos, toothpaste, because loads of people asked this question when I was coming here. When I got here, loads of people from, I think, our Facebook groups, they were asking, do you have this certain shampoo? Yes, we do. Bulgarians do use shampoo. So it's there. Everything is available. Probably the thing that you might want to bring is PG tips. If you drink tea, I do. And that's, you can get them now. Oh, okay, there you go. You've got them as well. So I'll find out where that is from, because that's what I bring. But other stuff, maybe your masalas, maybe other stuff that, can you get that as well? No, sure. Okay. So you can get that Indian stuff, spices. That's the stuff I bring. Otherwise, preparation-wise, I think that's it. Pretty much, you can buy clothes here. Everything is H&M is here. Everything, all the stores, you name it, they're probably here. So it's very nice. So I will pass the mic to the next person.
Yeah, I think I'll have to agree with them too. I mean, it's mainly the Bulgarian language. That's where you're going to struggle. So you'll probably struggle a lot less now, because obviously we've been here for 2 years, and more and more people speak English, and especially the staff. I remember, I did talk to them. I thought I'll probably mention this. Some of the students, I remember when we were in canteen, we were ordering food. When we came in 2014, some of us had to act like a chicken to order a chicken, because we didn't know what to say. So, but now we've come to that stage where we are in third year. We speak enough language to get by and stuff. But then the other staff, the canteen staff, they've picked up enough English. Now you don't need to know before you come here, but again, it helps. But they speak enough English to help you out, so it's not as hard as it used to be like in 2014. But yeah, it's good to learn the language. I think the fun way is to use applications. I installed a couple of applications, and obviously you can go on your App Store or Play Store or something. You can install from there. If you just know a few words, just the basics, will definitely help. The big supermarkets, obviously everyone speaks English, but it's just the smaller shops. That's where you tend to struggle a bit. But other than that, I think you've covered it pretty much.
Okay. And what do you study now?
I'm studying
How-
dentistry.
No, what are the subjects maybe in your first or second year now? I'm pretty sure future applicants are very interested in this topic.
I mean, the first year, it's pretty much the same for medical and dental students. You'll have the lectures together. You'll have the standard A-level things like, biology. You've got chemistry, biophysics, medical physics, cytology, which is similar to the histology and stuff. So you'll study a couple of medical subjects. The main one would be anatomy. You will be studying, I'll obviously speak for dental students, but it's the same for medics as well. The first year is pretty much the same. And eventually you move on to your own specialities. From second semester, which is the first year onwards, you would study the dental subjects like dental prosthetics. You deal with, making dentures and all that stuff. And dental materials, so it's just all the materials you use in the dental clinics. From second year onwards, you would start moving on to your actual specialty, and in third year you start going to hospitals, especially with medics. And dental students, they start working with phantom heads, where you actually practice fillings and extractions before you actually move on to the patients, onto the fourth year.
Yeah, absolutely. The first year, he's already covered that, and that's pretty much it, the first year. In second year, we have physiology, biochemistry, but in third year, it's the big change when you have the clinical aspect of it, because you still have the first 2 years are preclinical, and then the third year is where the clinical side starts. You have patient contact. However, you can also, if you're willing to do it, in the first year you can go to the hospital. They'll still show you around. They'll still show you cool stuff that's happening around in the hospital. So it's not like, oh dear, you know, there's restrictions in the UK. I know there's restrictions. You cannot enter certain departments if you haven't got the authorization or the card or someone with you. So here it's not like that. If you wake up in the morning, I did in my first year, and it was fine. Me and my friend, we went and we saw an operation happen. So that's how it is. Even nowadays, even the Saturday, Sundays, I take some of the first years or the second years with me to the surgery department and in the A&E in Bulgaria and Plovdiv. Oh yeah, by the way, Plovdiv Medical University is associated with St. George's Hospital, and that's one of the biggest hospitals in I think not just Balkan countries, yes, isn't it?
Balkan Peninsula,
Exactly.
the biggest hospital on the Balkan
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. So that means that you'll get tons and tons and tons of experience. You'll get so much diversity and variation of diseases. You're not just gonna get closed. It's one of the biggest. So you're gonna get loads of diseases, loads of patients, loads to learn. So I would say that's the third year's change. The subject-wise, I think Azam will explain those. And in second year, yeah, like Pankaj said, it's pretty much a little bit similar, but dental have a bit more subjects. So I'll give them the card that dentistry has a little bit more subjects, and therefore it is a little bit more difficult and intense. They'll have more exams and stuff, but people do pass. You study, you'll find time. You'll have to find a balance between what you want to do and how you want to do it. And there's always a lot of activities happening as well. In our second year, third year, we've had international events. We've had the Science Researchers Night, which is amazing opportunities, amazing things to do. You can participate in any function that the university is doing, it Bulgarian or international, any. And the fun thing about being in an international course is that you just don't meet one type of variation. You meet Germans, you meet Italians, you meet British people, you meet Bulgarians, obviously, and Turkish students. So it's going to be like that. So so subjects, of course, in the third year, my friend, and the second year, he'll go in more detail what the subjects are and explain them.
Thanks, Satkan. I would agree with Satkan, and just to finish off from his point, clinical exposure is very accessible, especially in Bulgaria. We've noticed from our clinical practices that if a doctor sees that you're interested, he will let you do pretty much whatever you want to do. So that was for the clinical aspect. So like Satkan said, the first 2 years are preclinical, so we learn the basic science foundations. Then we build on top of that. We go into clinics, we start meeting patients, and we start from the beginning, so taking history, learning how to order an X-ray, writing prescriptions, that kind of stuff. Also, a very clear difference that sets the UK apart from the studies abroad, especially in Bulgaria, is the fact that in the UK, medicine, maybe even dentistry, is taught systems-based. So for example, in the first 2 years, or even in the first year, you learn, let's say, the cardiovascular system as a system. Here, what we and what Plovdiv does is we learn the basic sciences. So we learn everything that is right with the body. After we've secured this fundamental knowledge of what is right in the body, anatomically right, systems-wise right, after that, then we start building on to the layer of the cake. So we then learn what goes wrong with the body. So now we're exposed to pathology, even in the clinics. We're looking down microscopes. We are able to diagnose things like cancer, hematomas, things like this. So it's a very elementary way of getting us into the field of medicine, almost like they're hypothetically holding our hand and taking us down the progression of becoming a doctor, from everything that goes right to everything that goes wrong, which is a clear difference to the UK. I mean, if in the UK it is okay for you to be thrown in the deep end and they show you that, this is the patient and patient communication, but unless you know what is right, you cannot compare which is what is wrong. That's one thing that I very much like in Plovdiv. Now, like I said, we're learning more things that are going wrong. So we're learning pathology, we're learning pharmacology. So now we're also very slightly introducing treatment into our diseases. And as soon as we get into 5th year, that's when we'll start having a complete responsibility of the patient. And in 6th year, which is our final year, it's a full internship beginning in September of every year. And that is when we are in charge of almost like a department. And we have rotation, so we do rotation in surgery, rotation in internal medicine, rotation in pediatrics. And I think this is technically the way that medicine is taught. It's been taught like this for many generations, many years, and if it's going right, then no need to change it.
Thank you. It's nice to see that the seminars and lectures are practice-oriented. What about your average day? Like, when are usually the lectures? Do you have much free time? How much does a person have to study?
So as you progress through the course, the timetable does intensify. In the beginning, we can all agree that we had a lot more social time, which is important. In first year, you do need to say hi to everyone. You need to meet people. You need to go to parties. Now it's getting a little bit more intense, so we're having a little bit more lectures, a little bit more practical. The beginning of the day can start anywhere from 9:30, maybe even 7:30 in the morning, and you'll end typically around 5 or 6ish. In between, you do have a break, so in timetable you are scheduled a break for lunch. Normally we go to the canteen or we go to the mall, which is very close to the university. And yes, we now, because we are in 3rd year, pretty much half the day is lectures and half the day is practicals. And by practicals, I mean clinical exposure. In the first 2 years, you'll be in the labs, you'll be in the chemistry lab, you'll be in the cytology room where you're looking down microscopes, identifying cell structures, etc. And so it's a nice balance between lectures and practicals.
And what about sports or other activities? What do you do in your leisure time?
We'll let Sakan start with leisure and then I'll finish.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically that's the universal medics, and dentistry is probably similar as well. So you start at 7:30. Some people I think start at 7 as well, so it's a bit weird. But yeah, they start at 7. Depends on your teacher. They can always change the time if it's not suitable for you. So if you, for example, if you have a gap between 2 lessons or practicals, you could always move one a little bit closer to the next one, so you just go straight after, and then you don't have to have that massive gap or the 1 hour gap that you have, so you'd have to go all the way home. Fortunately, I live next to the university, so for me it's absolutely fine. So what do I do in my break? Well, I quickly go home and have my PG tip tea. So yeah, chai. And so yeah, that's what I do in the break time, or food, as he said. So in the break, you'll have breaks. In the first year, sometimes you have longer breaks, sometimes you have shorter breaks. So it's not about, you always have something to do. The university also has sports, as you said. The university has in the curriculum of doing sports in the first year. So you do sports with the university. You can play basketball, cricket, whichever. I think there's been a team as well who the students have arranged themselves. yeah, Facebook groups that made cricket teams, so they have cricket matches every fortnight, and dancing and football. So there's lots going on. In your spare time, people go to the movies, bowling, go-karting, and you can go skiing if you've got more time. Traveling, you can travel, you can go stuff, and there's so much stuff you can do. I tend to just go and sit with my friends and discuss as much as I can worldly issues and stuff like that. But yeah, you can do a lot of stuff. People normally tend to chill in their own ways, as they say. And yeah, I'll let the dentist tell how they have their days.
When it comes to the time, I don't know if the medic's going to agree with me or not. Dentists have got much less time. It's much more intense. When I say intense, I mean the stats. Obviously, when you come here, you find out how many students have moved from dentistry to medicine. It's not like it's really, really hard and you won't be able to do it. But obviously, if you be on it and just revise and stay on top of everything, you'll be fine. But why people moved? Because I'll just give you just a couple of examples. So in the UK, they don't teach you much of like dental technician work. Probably 20, 30 years ago, they used to make dentists do their own lab work, like make your own dentures, make your own crowns and all that stuff. Now they only just show you how it's done in the UK, and that's it. Here, it's still done the old way. So you make your own crowns, you make your own dentures. So you basically become a dental technician in the second year. In the UK, in second year, you start with periodontal treatment, which is scale and polish and gum treatment. So you try to basically go clinical a bit early on. But then here, they make you technician first, and then you become a dentist. So you are basically doing two person's job. Because if you look at Bulgaria, the dentists, how they work here, they're pretty much self-employed. So some of them, obviously, if they want to save money and stuff, they'll do everything together. So it's like you have another skill on your hand. And like I mentioned earlier, I have a bit of dental background. I'm a dental assistant. I've been nursing in different hospitals and clinics in London, and I do that when I have holidays and stuff. And every single dentist or clinician I talk to, they say the same thing. They said, you will make a good dentist if you know technician work, if you can make your own dentures or your crowns and stuff, because it's much more hands-on. And clinical exposure, like they were talking about medicine, but in dentistry, again, it's much better than the UK. Only example I can give you is if someone understands dentistry, you probably know the root canal treatments. In the UK, when a dentist graduates, nowadays, I'm talking about nowadays, they barely do any root canals, especially on the molar teeth. Some of them come out with 1 or 2 molars, root canals. But here, we would at least do 10 to 15. And it's considered really hard treatment because it's you'll probably see when you come here, but it's difficult to do. But in the UK, they graduate with just 1 clinical exposure to that treatment. And when it comes to extractions, it's again the same story. We do much more. And obviously, when I speak to 4th and 5th year students, when I see how much of work they have to do, the number of patients they see, when you can just come out of it, you will be much more confident than the UK dentist in terms of clinical. But obviously, theoretical, like the rules and regulations about NHS and stuff, you can learn when you go back. Yeah.
I'm sure that also future applicants would be interested in how is Plovdiv in Bulgaria in terms of living, like apartments, probably also expenses per month. Would you elaborate on that?
I mean, it's quite cheap, as you can imagine. There is obviously, more students, and as you can imagine, the prices do go up slightly, but you can still find those good deals, good apartments, and I know people paying for 1-bedroom apartment for like 200, 250 euros, but then there are some people, they're living so close to uni, they can't be asked to walk. I'm talking about you. But some of them just can't be asked, but then they're paying like 500 euros or 400 euros, so it just depends how much money you have to splash, But it's quite cheaper. In terms of other bills like electricity and stuff, first of all, the internet here is amazing. Like that's what we miss in the UK. We go back on that bloody Sky like 2 Mbps, and here I'm just paying like 15 levs a month. There's no line rental or anything, and which is like roughly 7.5 euros, 30 meg speed, and bang on, it's just exactly 30. And the bills like water and electricity, all together there's not more than 50 euros a month basically. Probably goes up slightly in winter, but yeah, it's really cheap, and even eating out and everything. I think it's best to just explore it yourself and come here for a few days, and you'll be probably teaching me what to do.
Yes, I guess you'll all agree with that.
It's pretty much the same for everyone.
And what about the experience for international students? Where do most people come from?
It's quite mixed. I mean, obviously all the UK students they're quite multicultural, and people from Pakistani background, Indian background, Arabs, and you've got people from Greece as well, and you've got Germans and Sweden. It's just good mixture, and you can pretty much find the type you're looking for.
So my last question to you guys, because we have a lot of people asking questions, is what do you plan to do after your studies?
I mean, I think the best way you can answer that question is when you're in third year, because when you're in third year, you have like hands-on experience on every different specialty. Probably same for medics, but for dentists, I can say, when you start doing oral surgery, you start doing prosthodontics, which is the dentures and bridges and crowns and stuff. You start orthodontics, that's the braces they put on the teeth. When you have that exposure, that's when you decide, whether you're going to be an oral surgeon or, there's lots of different specialities. And I think it's probably too early to say now, but then by the third or fourth year, you'll probably know what you want to do in future.
For myself, I would say same with medicine. Medicine has a lot of varieties. You can choose which path you want to take. Personally, I'm interested in cancer, so oncologist maybe. Then I'm also interested in surgery, so maybe a surgeon. But then again, like I told you before, discussion types, or maybe politics, I don't know, because healthcare is really, really closely related to politics and funding. So I might even take that route, because at the moment, as we know, NHS is in trouble. So we might, it depends on what path you take. And with the medicine degree, MD, you pretty much can go into which field you want to do. But like we said, it's early days. And third year, I would say third year, you might get an idea, but there's some people who need a bit more time, because at the third year, you're just exposed. You need to see it, you need to be there. Like a surgery doesn't, like I think my professor said to this week, it was a very philosophical thing to say. A surgery, he said, we know when it starts, but we don't know when it ends. It could be a half an hour surgery, it could be an hour surgery, it could be 8 hour surgery. So you have to stand there on your feet, keep going. There could be another problem, and face another problem. As soon as you open the person, you don't know what's going to happen. So, and doctors are human, so they take their time. You can't rush things that are very crucial and very dangerous to rush it, because the person's life is at your hands and is at stake. So so it depends on what path you take. You can go into teaching. It depends. So I've told you the 3 things that I'm interested in, and that's what I think I'll go with.
Me personally, I feel very naturally placed in neurosurgery, so I'd like to explore that route. And since I'm very used to not living with my mum anymore, maybe UK is not the best option for me. So I'm also looking into countries like Canada and America.
So a lot of people are asking, how do you manage your time in terms of studying, hobby? How do you put this all together?
I guess the best way to see it is to start 1 week into university. And the first week you'll get a gist of what the subjects are looking for. They give you a conspectus, they give you the requirements to pass an exam, and also they give you a grade boundary, as in what you need for just to pass and what you need for 100%, for example. So realizing what you want from your degree, do you just want to pass, or do you want actually to get good grades and shine? That way you can best judge how much time you need to dedicate into studying. Some subjects are harder than others, so they'll require a lot more time, and it's your responsibility to dedicate that time. Some subjects maybe I'm very good at, maybe SatCon isn't. So for me, I would spend less time on those subjects, maybe SatCon will spend more. So it's very personal. However, I would like to bring to highlight this point that we are studying abroad. And because we want to go to another country to work, when they look at our CV and they see that we've studied in Plovdiv, unfortunately, they do not really know the eastern side of Europe yet. Whenever you ask somebody about Europe, they'll say France, Germany, Spain. So they'll be quite interested to know, tell me about Plovdiv, tell me about your city, tell me about the university, tell me about Bulgaria. And if you are just stuck in your home, in your apartment all day, just studying, unfortunately, you're not going to really have a good answer to explain to them what the country is about, what you liked about it, what you didn't like, what your experiences were like. Tell me about your friends. So it's important to juggle studying and social life, because at the end of the day, once you're into practice and you look back at these days, and you'll realize that you've missed a very good opportunity to be a well-rounded person, a more balanced person who can study when the time is right, and a person who can have fun. So how would I balance my time? Just to wrap it up, I would look at how difficult the subject is, have a rough idea of what score I want to get in the exam, then decide my timetable around there, and have a little bit of free time for things that I enjoy, for example, the gym, spending time with my brother, things like that.
To explore the city, to explore everything.
Exactly.
To explore the traditions, customs, everything around you.
Yes, absolutely. I think the way I would say to study-wise, don't follow the grade. Do not say, oh, I want a 6, or what do I need to learn for a 6? Go into a subject and swim. Swim in there. Learn it properly. Do not memorize. You're going to struggle. This is medicine. I'm telling you straight up. I'm not going to bend around corners or beat around the bush. This is medicine. You've got to study it properly. Simple as that. And how long you take, it doesn't matter. Someone takes an hour, someone takes 2 hours, someone takes 30 seconds. It depends on you, like my friend said. But aiming for, or sometimes you won't get 100%. But you need to be satisfied with yourself, how much I've studied, and is that enough for me? Because remember, wherever you go back, they will expect you to know stuff. And the more you know, the more chances and the probability increases that you can save someone's life, help them in any condition that they'll have. Otherwise, you just sit there thinking, okay, referral time. Because you wouldn't know. And my advice is that do not memorize. In any degree, dentistry or any degree, do not memorize, or you'll have a habit of just memory dumping. Don't do it for the exam. As soon as you come out of the exam, you'll forget. So within a few months later, you'll come back to the subject again. Physiology, how many times we've come back to that? Pathophysiology, pathoanatomy, it keeps coming. And physiology is the basis of our degree. So I would say, learn the subject, learn it, start basically swimming. That's why we have disciplinaries. I think traditional medicine is the way how we learn it, is that the whole subject you taught in the whole subject. So if you have a topic, biochemistry, they'll teach you the whole thing of biochemistry at the beginning, and you'll get to swim it, you get used to it, you get comfortable with it. And when it comes to exploring Plovdiv, the city is amazing. You go to the center, there's so much to see, to do, to hang around, there's so much stuff to do. And culture-wise, you'll have so many functions happening. So those things do play a part, and I would tell you to go to those things. You'll have plenty of time, but management of the time depends on you. No one else is gonna. Of course, parents will be concerned. Parents will keep telling you, "Oh, do this, do that." But my parents don't, because I'm like 25 now, and I've done a degree beforehand. So they don't really ask me, "Oh, have you studied?" They don't do that. They know that I study. So that depends on the parents and in a children relationship. But the parents need to see that area that they've sent their child, and the child then, or the student, should think what is important. Then you have to make. Sometimes I think Pankaj or myself have to miss out certain events, certain cinemas, certain movies, so we can't go to them because of that. But it depends on you. So I would advise you to do that.
I mean, don't know if there's much for me to say, but I think I'll just say the same thing, that I think you're gonna have to spend some time at uni to find out which method works for you. I mean, for me, before coming here, I was working full time at the hospital and clinics, and so I was kind of away from the studying side of things. And then when I came back, and I had to kind of work out how which method's going to work for me. So the good thing is, as you start uni, it's not really intense, and we were just actually talking about the same thing, that we kind of miss first year. We kind of relive our first year life, and you can't do the same because it's slightly chilled. I'll say slightly. I mean, it's not too chilled. But second semester, obviously, it gets intense for dentists. For medics, it just stays. First 2 years, you just love it, and you just don't study. I mean, I have to say this, right? Second year, January time, when we finish this semester, these guys, medics, they get 2 months off. We have 3 exams. We have dental anatomy, I mean, not dental, just full anatomy, and we got dental materials, and there's another subject. So there's 3 exams, and these guys get 2 months off. But it's not like it's easy for them. Obviously, it gets much harder in the 3rd year. It just obviously kicks in with a big blow, and there's some people like, whoa, like we didn't realize that it just came. Good thing with dentistry is they sort of keep you on it, like from the 2nd years, so sort of from the 1st year, 2nd semester, you start your dental faculty, and you start your dental subjects, and then they're kind of strict on you. So dental faculty is famous for that, which is good. I mean, they keep you on your toes. But yes, 1st year it starts a bit easy, and then by the time, when you're into it, when you're in 2nd year, you'll probably know which way works for you, which method works for you. So you'll probably get better at it. If not, then unfortunately there are some students it doesn't work for them. But it's nothing to do with university, or it's basically they've never lived away from the family, so they find it hard. And that's where, to make your life much easier, learn Bulgarian. Learn some words, use those applications, and make your life much easier. But like I said, it'll be less likely people will give up, because there's so many of us now, and you'll definitely bump into somebody, and there's always somebody there in the same shop behind you paying for something, and sometimes you just get sick of them, like, oh, wow, where are the Bulgarians? Why do I see so many UK students? Because it's such a small town, in such a small city, and so in a way it's good, because people are there, people are around you. So yeah. Nothing else?
Yeah, so to sum up, it's a really personal thing, of course. So one question for probably only one of you guys anyway. It's regarding the apartments. Is it like in the UK you get the contract for 6 or 12 months, or is it like month for month?
I mean, it depends on the landlord or agency. You can negotiate and stuff, but mainly most of the landlords would probably ask for minimum 12 months. Yeah, I mean, if you sign for 2 years, I signed for 2 years. If you negotiate a bit more, you say, oh, I'm here, I'm going to stay a bit longer, then obviously you can knock the price down a bit. But then at the same time, even if you sign 2 years, you can still give a month notice. It's a European country, so same EU regulations apply. You can leave, you can give a notice and stuff. But yeah, some of the landlords, they might not be aware of it, but then most of them are. So it depends. You're going to have to make sure your landlord knows. And but yeah, there's more agencies, there's more people around you. There's Facebook page, they post pictures, and there's hundreds of apartments on that page. So I think you guys are in much better position than us. When we came, I stayed in hostels for first few days, and I remember when Anna helped me out and stuff. Eventually, when I found out agencies and didn't speak much English, so it was a bit of a struggle initially. But then now it's completely different ball game. I mean, there's so many agencies, and you can negotiate with them.
Yes, it's quite easy, I think, to find an apartment.
Yes, so the actual system of how it works is, you like an apartment, that's very good. Normally you can only find apartments with the help of an agency. So depending on the landlord, you have to pay either 1 month's deposit or 2 months deposit. And the agency takes around 60 to 100% of a month's fee as a commission. So that's the legal way to do it. And like Pankaj said, pretty much 99% of the contracts are 12 months. The closer you are to university, the more expensive it's going to be. The further away you are, the cheaper it is. Loads of apartments are now being built. There's construction all across Plovdiv. So apartments is not something that students should be really worried about.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of people are worried about the Bulgarian language. You probably scared them with this preparation. But the question is, first, you studied only in the first semester or until the 3rd year?
So the way that the university has designed the syllabus is, back in our day, in first year, we did not have a crash course or an introductory course. We just had Bulgarian for 2 years. So that's 4 semesters. Each year has 2 semesters. So we had Bulgarian for those 2 years. And at the end of the 2nd year, we have an exam. At the end of the first year, we have sort of a small exam, but it's not the final grade that you get for Bulgarian. It's just to see that you're on top of your work and you know what you're saying. However, now the university has recognized that, since for a lot of students, it is quite a hard language because the alphabet's completely different, and the dialect, the speed of conversation is totally different to English. What they've done is very smart, which is they introduced a crash course, an introductory course. So every medic, every dentist in the first year, before they learn any clinical sciences, will be required to study 1 month of Bulgarian. And at the end of the one month, there's a small test, again, just to make sure that you've learnt properly. And I think Miss can elaborate
some basic knowledge.
And what happens if you don't pass it?
Yes.
No, they'll make you do it again. They'll test, just to test. What happened with the crash course was that we, as students, we made an association, went to the university, and we decided that because the hours of Bulgarian were so long, and students were getting bored in the lesson, 6 hours of Bulgarian in one day is too much. So what we did was the next day we have a cloakroom, next we have exams, we got other things as well, anatomy and histology and everything. So the student association body, we went there and we discussed it with you, and the university, it shows you again how well the university listens to the students and tailored it towards the needs of the students. And I said, you know, if we could have a crash course at the beginning, maybe 2-3 weeks, and they'll get used to it because people are nervous, they can't pay attention to the actual subjects that we're going to be doing. But yeah, that's how it is. And in clinical wise, you'll get your professor and they'll translate if you worry that, oh, I don't know full Bulgarian. Because it's a difficult language, they know that. And so to compensate that, then later on, the first years don't have 6 hours in the week or 8 hours in the week. They have just 2 or 3 hours in the whole week. Now second years, they have 3 hours and they've broken it down. So you'll have 1 on Monday, maybe one on Thursday. So it's not as intense or pressurizing. They've listened to us, and it's amazing now. It's really good.
And there is no test before the third year?
There's a test in the second year, and
Yes?
that's what you need to pass.
Okay, what happens if you don't pass?
You do the test again, and eventually you pass.
Eventually pass.
Eventually you pass.
Okay. So the next question is, what criteria did you look for, like when you were choosing between Bulgarian universities? Did you wonder between Sofia Medical University, Plovdiv Medical University? Why? Yeah.
I mean, the main thing is it's a really small city, so you can literally walk everywhere. And Sofia, you know, we are in touch with a couple of students, and if you come here, you'll see it's a bit like living in London or living in Birmingham. London's definitely expensive, and same. It's obviously Sofia isn't as expensive as London, but then if you compare it with Plovdiv, it's much more expensive. Your different faculties, your different lessons. So let's just say if you got like pharmacology in one day and something else on the another, it's the faculty is so big, it's spread out. So sometimes you get cabs, sometimes you get bus. Cabs are more expensive in Sofia, so that was the main reason. And Sofia, it just feels like you're in just one of another European countries, but like Plovdiv, it's more Bulgarian. I think Sofia is more westernized, so it's just more authentic Bulgarian look to it. And initially we kind of struggled with with the language, but then now more and more people speak English in Plovdiv, so it's not that much of an issue, basically.
Is there a difference between the university that you considered, or just the city was the most
It's mainly
important?
the city. Like, I mean, again, speaking about dentistry, Plovdiv is definitely the one because the faculty is brand new. 2006, they built the building. Even, trust me, this guy's getting jealous now because if you look at the pictures, I mean, the brand new lecture rooms, and now they're building the 4th floor, and so they're adding more gadgets, and I think you're gonna have to come and see it for yourself. I think I'll probably elaborate more on the language side of things. Again, just like I mentioned before, life is hard for dentists. It gets harder with Bulgarian as well. Slightly harder than medical students, not too hard. So harder in a way that in the 3rd year, well, obviously not in 3rd year, 4th year, when you see your patients, sometimes you are left alone with your patients. Then you're going to have to know the basics. But being in 4th year, by that time, you would know the basics. You'll be given questionnaire and stuff, how to question the patient. But with medics, they don't treat patients by themselves. They don't do anything individually. They mainly are surrounded, because it's a big hospital, they're always surrounded by doctors and other students. So it's slightly easy in terms of the language side of things, because they don't have to be pro at the language, because they don't have to, they're never left with the patient by themselves. So for dentists, you're going to have to be on it and learn it properly. And I think by 4th year, you should be fine. I mean, I was speaking to Anna earlier, and I kind of managed to impress her with my Bulgarian.
One question to you is, where can I find the reading list for dentistry? What books are necessary for me to buy?
I mean, I've got a list of all the books for all the 6 years you need for every single specialty. I can share on the page afterwards. But
How did you get it from the
from
professors?
the university, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
I got it from the faculty as well.
Yes.
But we have Facebook pages for every year. We've got all the PDFs for all the subjects you need. And obviously, because I'm in third year and I've got all the books from last 3 years, and I'm more than happy to share them and with all the students.
Thank you. And a short, small question for all of you guys is how is the equipment for dental and medical students at Plovdiv Medical
Equipment, I
University?
mean, like I said, dentistry is just amazing. I mean,
It's quite modern, right?
It's much modern. And in terms of medical equipment, I think I'll let you guys speak about it.
Like I said before, we've got the biggest hospital, so there's been refurbishment, so the cardiology department is top notch, is first class. You've got people from other countries coming and giving in international lectures, so you have top notch equipment. Regarding your own lab coat and stuff, that kind of equipment that you have to buy yourself, buy a good stethoscope. I didn't, and so now I have to buy one, and I did. So I've got one because you can't hear the stuff. So you might as well invest in it in the beginning, and then you'll keep it forever. And write down your name on there, your laser, whatever, and you'll be fine. But otherwise, the equipment is there. We forgot to tell you one thing: is the anatomy is that you get cadavers to learn on. That itself is a privilege, because in UK it's very hard to do that. You don't get the opportunity to learn on cadavers for anatomy, and that is, you can access the room, you can go and learn it. In UK you get a lecture, you probably get models and stuff, so that is part of equipment. I wouldn't want to call the cadavers equipment because it's people who've donated their bodies, but it comes in the same section. How do you learn? And that's how you learn. You learn with the real things, real people, real everything. So it's not, oh yeah, it's a picture on the board, there you go. You get to go and see the MRI getting conducted, you get to see the CT scan, you get to stand next to the ultrasound room, you get to see the X-ray happening, get to see everything. So it's like basically live, how we're doing a live video right now, so it's live. So that's how it is.
Yeah, regarding equipment again, so like they summarized, we do need some personal equipment. There's a Plovdiv checklist from Interhex, so all the students will get that. Included in the checklist is your personal equipment. For example, white lab coat. That's very necessary for all 6 years, in fact. And you don't need your stethoscope until third year. Regarding the anatomy labs, because we do have cadavers and you get to pick them up, you get to move them around, get to look inside the vessels, inside the structures, inside the organs. So it's important that you bring your own gloves. Because we all have different size hands, we need to buy our own gloves. Someone might be allergic to latex, so it's important to buy your own gloves. Make sure you're stocked up for the first 2 years at least. But yeah, you can definitely buy them at the pharmacies around the university as well. Yeah, definitely it'll be cheaper to buy them here instead of getting them shipped.
The next question is, what is the pass rate for medical and dentistry course exams?
I think Miss can answer this question properly.
I would like to say that most students who have been studying so far will pass, and they have passed. Maybe there are some 2 or 3 students who have already withdrawn, but I wouldn't say that this is a great number. So the knowledge that they gain and their successful achievements are obvious for the university.
That's of course obvious. Yeah, if one studies, I'm pretty sure they can manage it. Also, one question to you, Annie, is
Yes?
because you said there are entrance exams and there is an oral exam as well. What does the oral exam consist of? The questions, like how does it look like?
Yes, this year, as I mentioned, we introduce entrance exams. They will be combined exams, both in biology and chemistry. They will be on our website next week, and all the applicants will be able to acquaint themselves. The questions in the tests will meet the requirements that they can gained from the previous studies in the secondary schools. So I would say the tests will be quite reasonable and achievable for all the applicants. Here I would like to add something connected with accommodation. We forgot to say that the university offers dormitories, and the cost for living there is around €75 per month. That includes all the utility bills, electricity, internet, and water supply. However, every student is supposed to share the room with someone else. He can't live in one room. So this is also interesting for students who can't afford to cover the expenses and to rent a more expensive apartment.
Exactly, regarding the living expenses, because we have already discussed the apartments, that private apartment might be around €300, let's say, and dormitory around 100. But what about the bills? Like, how much are your living expenses? Like bills, like how much would you say you spend per month?
Around the average is around 100 lev, which includes everything like water, electricity, internet, maybe even a contracted phone. So it's very cheap, but again, I would like to highlight that it does depend on what you use. So we've noticed that our bills are higher in the winter period because it's very cold. Plovdiv is another city in the European Union which has all 4 seasons. So you do have snow. We've just survived the snow blizzard just now. And in the summer as well, it can get around 35, 34 degrees. So in the winter, our bills are quite high because we turn on the ACs for heat. In the summer, we just open the windows. It's very nice. It's very cool. And so yeah, that's generally what we've noticed for the 3 years.
Yeah, you all mentioned that it's quite cheap to live in Plovdiv anyway. Regarding studying at the university, people are asking, are the courses lecture-based or problem-based? Like learning?
You get case studies, so it's not problem-based, so PBL system that we have in the UK, it's not like that. But like I told you earlier, that it's a subject as a whole, so whole of anatomy. You don't learn it as a disease, you learn it as the whole of anatomy, the whole body, A to Z, and then they'll give you a case study. So in every subject is different, so they'll give you a case study or a problem, hey, let's see, because you'll have the knowledge to work it out. So it's not like, oh, it's directed, it's a bit of both. So if they're asking PBL system, that is not here. But if it's asking problems, do they ask you questions like that? Yes, it is. And that happens mostly in the practical sessions. You can have that in lectures as well. So lectures shout out a question, okay, what do you think is doing this? Recently we had the students arranged a forensic lecturer to come and give out forensic, like you get murderers and stuff, so you get dead bodies then. So how would you assess that? And then at the end he asked a USMLE question, so he did a couple of those. So people want to do that because people want to travel or go, maybe want to work in America. So yeah, you get questions all the time. So but it's not a PBL system, no.
Okay, thank you a lot for the information, guys. It was quite useful for all future applicants. So if you're interested in applying at any university in Bulgaria, you can meet us in Dublin, London, Manchester, and Birmingham, and Berlin in the following months. We're even organizing the entrance test for Plovdiv Medical University in London. So if you have any questions regarding your stay or living or studying in Bulgaria, feel free to contact Interhex Study in Bulgaria.